Welcome back to Ecstatic Stories, where we share people's journeys to soberness, but it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the party, the connection and the dance and all the fun, right?
That's right.
We've got Rach Moore from the Rainbow Tribe. And Rach, do you want to tell us a bit more about the Rainbow Tribe and how you ended up creating events which I guess don't involve alcohol?
They promote connection whilst being clear and present, and they also promote getting high together as a tribe. And how my journey towards creating Rainbow Tribe started was just the need to connect more deeply with women. And I started holding women's new moon ceremonies, which I still do. And this was nearly 10 years ago.
Wow.
And so it was just kind of working in harmony with nature, so with the seasons of the moon, which is something I've always been inspired by.
Yes.
And long story short, that's kind of grown from 5 women in my lounge room every new moon to a couple of hundred people, men and women, on the full moon, dancing and meditating and practicing yoga. And I always like to bring a little bit of ritual and ceremony into my events, and I find that's really the key to creating that euphoric high. Is bringing people together with some kind of ritual or ceremony that just brings people into alignment together.
What are the key elements, do you think, to enable that connection for people?
The key elements is, I think, for people who have a similar intention for why they're going to a certain event or a certain venue, and pretty much always it's to connect.
Yes.
Some people might say it's to pick up or to meet someone new, but it's really to fill that that space in our heart and our soul with human connection.
Absolutely.
And a connection from the heart and authentic connection. And going back to the days where I did used to party a lot, I would go out to nightclubs, and I would be doing the things that you do in nightclubs, and I would make all these friends, and I've got a really good memory. And the next week I would go back and I'd be like, "Hey Jasper, how are you?" Because we'd have a big, deep and meaningful, and people wouldn't remember me, and I used to get really upset and really offended, like, how can't you remember me? I'm Rainbow Rach, So one of the greatest things about, going to these parties where we get high on clean energy is, you really make great friendships. And I'm not saying that you don't, because I'm not promoting only soberness, because I do drink a red wine every now and then, and I like moderation and balance. But my point is, when you're clear and you're present and you're engaging in the dance or the meditation or the yoga or even just the conversation, it goes a little deeper, and it has longevity, and it's lasting,
Absolutely. And it's and I think that's our message with Ecstatic Sunsets. We're not anti-drugs and alcohol. It's more about making choices that make sense for yourself. And it's funny, I think the key word you mentioned there was the balance. The balance of what is the right amount of something to, I guess, be the best version of yourself.
For me, it's not so much about sober versus drinking. It's about all these other ways that you can actually get high that don't give you a hangover and that don't cost any money. So when I do the Rainbow Tribe events, we're getting high on life, and we're doing that with breath work, and we're doing that simply by being in a room full of people, sitting in a circle, or just gathered together and breathing in unison, deep breaths in unison. It's transformational doing that. If you've never done it before, 5 deep breaths together, even if it's just an inhale and a sigh, just that in itself, so many people they would never get the opportunity to experience what that does. And it just kind of is a reflection of how the human race, especially in the Western society, we just we're quite separate. We're all going about our own lives, doing our own thing. So coming together in an event where where you're doing things together in unison, whether it's doing a yoga class or whether you're dancing or whether you're breathing, it's really healing, and I think you can enter this state of coherence when you're all moving and breathing together. And so it's not so much about just being sober, it's about getting high on the elements, breathing in the air, playing with fire, lighting a candle, and you know, connecting to those elements.
Yes, and I think what I love in Sydney, you know, as increasingly around Australia, there's more of these alternative events where you can get, you know, these alternative highs, I guess, and connect with people. And you know, Rainbow Tribe is one of many. And I think what, you know, I'm personally excited about is building that tribe of people who can connect with like-minded people and connect with the different events that are available on a weekly basis, actually. So you can actually go to these events and really lift your vibration, can't you? And it's like, I think what I love is just how I feel at the end of it.
Yeah.
Always feel uplifted, my vibration's higher.
Yeah.
And I think just a lot of people are unaware that these sort of events exist or even open to necessarily trying them. And that's why we're here talking about it, as we want to share the wonderful experiences that are available for everyone to basically let loose, be yourself, and connect with others in a I guess, as you said, in a form of clean energy environment. So,
exactly. Get high on your own supply of air.
So, Rach, you're going to be opening up Ecstatic Sunsets on Shark Island.
Very honoured to be opening.
Yeah. So, what are you most excited about? Ecstatic Sunsets coming out.
I am most excited about being on an island, in the middle of Sydney, with 500, 600, 700, 800 awesome human beings. Like I know a lot of the people that already have tickets, and they're just awesome humans that love to get high on life. And I'm really excited when I think about the people that I know are going.
Yes, yeah.
I just can't wait to be on an island and dance and go and sit on a rock and have a chat. And it's a festival, you know?
Yes.
Like, festivals are like one of the biggest parts of my life. They always have been. You know, I went to Burning Man 10 years in a row, and it's for that community.
Yes.
So, you know, we're taking a little community to the middle of Sydney Harbour on an island, and we get to dance as the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Like, that's just ecstatic. That's awesome.
Absolutely, and we're bringing many communities together for this. So what's interesting, this has sort of really reached out. It's sort of touched lots of different people in different groups, different ages, and I think it's just wonderful to use music and dance to bring everyone together, as you say, in that wonderful natural environment, which is going to be really, really special.
Yes,
so
can't wait.
We can't wait. So Rach, you lived in the Big Apple, in the party scene there. You've been to Burning Man 10 years in a row. You started one of the big Burning Man theme camps. You've clearly been in the party scene, and you've transcended to more sort of, I guess, the conscious party scene.
Yeah.
Like, how was that journey for you?
The transition from going wild and letting completely loose with substances, things like Burning Man and you know, living in New York City, to what I do now, which is completely letting loose and releasing through breath and movement and my body in a conscious way. I think getting diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis was a big part of that journey, because you know, my body was in a lot of pain. All of a sudden I was, you know, having severe pain in my body when I was living in New York, and went to a doctor after a while, and he said, you've got rheumatoid arthritis, your prognosis is terrible, you know, doom, gloom, take all these pills, which I did for a couple of years. And after 2 years of taking a lot of pharmaceuticals, my body, I really was listening to my body, and my body was telling me, you are giving your power away, you're becoming completely disempowered, this is not the path for you. And I really heard this voice. And so I kind of weaned myself off the medication, and I started practicing yoga every day. I became a yoga teacher. I learned to meditate. I started meditating twice a day. And I think the most significant thing that I did was learning self-love. And I did that by accident through a type of meditation. It's like an adaptation I developed, where every day I would wake up and I would visualize love, like sparkling through my joints.
Wow. Yeah.
And almost like magic.
Yes.
And I really visualized my body healing, and I did it every morning for a whole year, maybe longer. And because every morning I would wake up with that mantra of, I'm healing, I love you, I'm healing, you're beautiful. After a year, I actually looked in the mirror and I realized, holy shit, I love myself. I'm actually in love with myself completely as I am. I didn't reject my pain. I didn't hate my pain. And through loving myself exactly as I am, with the disease and all, and I realized the power of self-love. Yeah. And I realized the power of the mind. and I realized the power of intention. And so that's what really made me listen to my body. So whenever I have a drink of wine, after a couple of sips, I'm like, I'm not unconsciously chugging.
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, it tastes nice, I've had enough.
Yes.
And what I want to do is just connect, and I want to teach other people how to fall in love with themselves and how to heal themselves and how to just be grateful for what they have.
So, no, it's very inspiring. I mean, obviously, being inflicted with that sort of disease would have been, that must have been quite challenging at the time. And then, and to sort of come around to where you've just become this leader within the community of, inspiring joy and movement, and it's just incredible. I mean, it's just, which talks, I guess, the power of the body to heal itself, that we have what we need within us, right?
Yes,
And I think that, I think that's what I reflect on, is that I have the best time dancing and partying sober because I have everything I need within me, and I just really thrive off I guess that natural high that comes up when I'm connecting and moving and expressing, and so I think that's just a great example of the power of how you can heal your own body
and also learn how powerful you are, and when you're conscious and you're clear and you believe that you can shift and change, it's just like magic. And I'm a big believer in magic. And, take that how you want it, but the power of intention and the power to transform your life it's as real as anything. So
Well, thank you for sharing, Rach. It's a wonderfully inspiring story. That's exactly, I think, what a lot of people would love to hear. You might be going through challenging times or have some sort of illness, and I think it just shows that that what's possible within us outside putting something else in our body. Whether it's pharmaceutical drugs or some other substance to escape whatever you're being challenged by, that you can have faith in yourself and set positive intentions, and there really is an incredible path forward, and you're a wonderful example of that.
Thanks, Jasper. Thanks for inviting me to share.
See you on Shark Island!